So there was a busy night last night. Let's talk about it. So we're going to talk about 3 topics today. One, the BET Awards, just a very high overview about BET Awards and my opinions on that. Then we're going to talk about Bernie Sanders' new proposal that he just dropped today, which is Monday, because this airs on Monday. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what I'm thinking for 2020 and what's going to happen, especially since there's this new allegation that came out with Donald Trump, whether or not the Democrats will actually impeach, since there are some impeachable offenses, and what people think, all that means and all that jazz. So if we have time, we'll get to that as well. But let's move right along and let's get into the BET Awards and what I thought. I thought overall the BET Awards were really, really good. I thought everybody did pretty good. I didn't really see any complaints. And for the last couple of years, I don't know about you, but award shows, it just hasn't been cute. Like, it's just been a lot that has just been too much. I don't know if it's the whole Viacom acquisition. Like, I don't know, but BT and even like the MTV Awards were kind of sucky for the last couple of years. Like, it just wasn't entertaining. I don't really watch awards shows, just to be completely honest with you, because it's not a whole lot of interesting things happening watching other people win awards. Like, it's just not. But I like the performances usually, because I like live performances. I also like live music. Just add that in there. And long walks on the beat. Let me stop. But I think usually it's about the host. I think the host makes a big difference in award shows. And I know a lot of people have been shying away from hosting simply because a lot had been going on. Like, a lot's been going on and people don't want to get in trouble. And I think that Regina Hall is a great host. I like Regina Hall's personality. I've even she was on another show, I can't think of what it's called. It's like usually a panel of women and they talk about the industry and everything, and I just love her. I love her. And there were certain things that she wasn't gonna do. I just love Regina. I really do. Regina Hall. But I also love Regina King as well. She's awesome. But the BET Awards were really fun. Like I said, I think everybody overall looked amazing. I didn't see anyone that didn't that much. For the most part, everybody looked amazing. Let's just keep it on a positive note. I think that there were a couple gimmicks, of course, but everybody looked great. I think Lizzo, I loved the outfit she came in with, even though I'm a little, biased because I like her as an artist. Just in general. I think it was Zendaya may have been there. I liked her with the short pixie cut. I like that a lot. I think Cardi looked amazing last night. Speaking of which, she was the big winner. She won Album of the Year. She also won Female Hip Hop Artist. So she was a big winner. So they had a couple of big winners. So they had, of course, the Ultimate Icon Award that went to Tyler Perry. Beyonce won the Best R&B and Pop Artist. They had the Humanitarian Award, which went to Nipsey Hussle. And then a Lifetime Achievement Award that went to Mary J. Blige. So they had a lot going on. Like I said, I liked the show overall. And then, of course, the performances, I think, is what made the show. Because, like I said, I'm not watching. Listen, I'm just full disclosure. I'm not sitting there watching 3 hours of somebody else winning an award. 3.5 hours of somebody else winning an award. I think it came on at 8 and it went off at 11:30. That's a lot. But I watched the performances and I went back and watched some of the speeches. The acceptance speeches. I didn't watch everybody's acceptance speech, but I watched some of the acceptance speeches, and like I said, the performances were amazing. A lot of people were saying that Cardi B was the best performance of the night. For me, no, I think it was good. There's no knock on her. And like I said, I was actually pleasantly surprised to see Offset dancing. I didn't think rappers dance like that. So I was pleasantly surprised to see Offset out there coordinated. He actually had choreography. Like, he was actually in there with them. I was pleasantly surprised to see that. Now, I will say that, like I said, she looked amazing. She looked absolutely amazing. She sounded really, really good. I can't really say anything bad, but the best performance to me was Lizzo. Or maybe I'm a little partisan because maybe we look a little bit like kinfolk. We both kind of, chunky. We got like the same complexion. We both like long weave every now and again. We look like we could be in relatives, so that's why I think I like her. But I loved her performance. I think it actually went with her song. I think that it all made sense. I think she had the right amount of energy. It was funny, it was cheeky, it was clever. She showed some talent playing the flute because she plays the flute anyway. So I like to see that she was able to bring that in. I just think that she had one of the better performances. I also like Mary J. Blige's performance. Now, I will say that Mary looks amazing. Mary's mama look amazing too. I ain't gonna lie. Like, she was like, woo, if Mary, how old her mother is, running the family. Okay. Because Mary looks better than I do. I've seen her swimming. She looked better than I do. And I got her she has me by some years. But I liked the performance. I think Mary looked good too. I liked her. I liked the blonde hair on Mary. Even though Mary usually, she back in the day, she had blonde hair. So I liked the tribute. I think Mary, she did her traditional dance. That's Mary's dance. I call it the Mary. That sort of like a little bit of combo, a Lil' Kim and the fall over type thing. I don't know what you call that. Just call it the Mary. But I liked her performance for the most part. I think that there was a couple of times that she was looking like, I don't feel like doing this, like, this dance, and this is just too much. Like, I'm the queen of hip hop soul or whatever. Like, R&B. Is she the R&B? Oh, hip hop? No, that's not hip hop. She's not hip hop soul. R&B. And so I felt that, and I felt like it was a little stiff, like a little bit, but I liked it. I think it was real cute that she brought out Method Man and Lil' Kim. By the way, Method Man looks amazing. He looks amazing. Like, I was like, oh my god, okay, I see you. I think he looks amazing. Lil' Kim was new Kim. So she was out there, yeah. And yeah, yep. So I liked it. I liked the performance, and I liked, what they did with Nipsey Hussle, and that performance was really good. I think John Legend sounded amazing. DJ Khaled was not necessary, but he was there. And that was nice. He came and everything. And what else can I say? I just liked it overall. So I'm not going to dwell on it, but I liked it. And I think Tyler Perry's speech was amazing. I think he didn't get a warm reception. I think because everybody has a love-hate. Well, not everybody. I don't have a problem with him. But I think a lot of people do have a love-hate relationship with him, especially with the whole Monique thing and her talking about how he treated her with, like him and Lee Daniels and everything. And she recorded him on the phone. And so I think people kind of have a love-hate relationship with him. Although he's done a lot and you can't deny it. You just can't deny what he was able to accomplish. So, he's one of those people that has done a lot. He told his backstory, which I liked. I think the most important part of his speech was when he started to talk about really pursuing your dreams, because you don't know how many people around you you impact by your dream. And he was able to hire people like Viola Davis and people like Taraji P. Henson, and now they get jobs everywhere. But he was said in the time in the industry, they weren't really booking roles like that, and now they are. And he dedicated his first 10 movies to Black women. And so, hey, I can't knock him for doing that. He made over $100 million off of Medea, which is amazing in and of itself. I don't know how you do that with the franchise of Medea, but he did it. So I'm not complaining about Tyler Perry. I think he did amazing things. He's created a pathway. He owns his own studio. What else can I say about him? But that he makes a great point. Pursue your dreams, because you do not know who you will impact, whose life you will change. He said he wants to be an aspiration for people, and that's why he put his studio in the place that he put it, which was in a lower income neighborhood in Atlanta. so that other, little African American children or little black children can see that there is a possibility. You can do it. You can achieve it. It can happen. So pursue your dreams. You don't know who you're going to impact by it. So pursue it. That didn't come out too right. Pursue your dreams. So with that being said, let's move on to one of the dreams I would love to pursue. And that is getting my student loans paid off via Bernie Sanders' new plan. So if you haven't heard, Bernie Sanders is trying to roll out a plan that will pretty much eliminate student loan debt of $1.6 trillion for over 42 million Americans with his new plan that he is trying to roll down the pipe. So this is one of the things that 45 million Americans. So yeah, so he's basically trying to stand out in the new race of all of the Democrats in the whole world running for president in 2020. Like I said, I've said it a million times before. I think I'm like one of the only Democrats who decided not to run. But this plan that he's rolling out is a part of his public university and colleges plan that he had when he was running back in 2016. And he wants to make, of course, universities free, public universities and community colleges free, which in Maryland, where I am, tuition is already free for community colleges. I think that's a new program or plan that has just been rolled down the pipe. So he wants to have the federal government pay $47 billion a year. And I said with a B, $1 billion a year. That's 47 Jay-Z's a year towards tuition, and for the states to pay an additional $23 billion a year towards tuition so that college is free for all. He said it today. It just came out. This is on a Monday. We air on Monday. He had a couple of people that joined him. Some of the standouts are Representative Omar and Representative AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, on Capitol Hill. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If Bernie Sanders of Vermont wants to do this, I'm all for it. But do you want to know how he's going to pay for it? Basically, this is what he said. So our proposal, which costs $2.2 trillion over 10 years, will be fully paid for by a tax on Wall Street speculation, similar to what exists in dozens of countries around the world. The Americans bailed Wall Street out. Now it's time for Wall Street to come and aid the middle class of this country, which is so true in so many ways. There are a couple of different countries that tuition is free, and they're not, some massively rich like countries. I mean, they are wealthy. I take that back. They are wealthy, but it's not impossible for the United States to do it if other countries like Europe have been able to do that as well. Well, I guess that's not really, well, you get it. They have smaller, you get what I'm saying. But anyway, I think, does England? I think England might have free tuition there. I believe so. So the College for All plan really is outlined a Robin Hood tax. So this Robin Hood tax is where they would pay for it, right? Where Wall Street is going to pay for this. And how does that Robin Hood tax work? So basically they would impose a 0.5% tax on stock trades, a 0.1% fee on bonds, and a 0.005% fee on derivatives. So, yeah. He says that it's going to be similar to the proposal or the GI Bill, which paid for military service members' tuition after World War II, which helped build up the middle class. Now, I agree with that. I agree that the GI Bill did help a lot of the service members build up the middle class because they didn't have to worry about paying for colleges and universities. I also agree that college and universities has increased, and it's going to continue to increase. Please Google it. You would be shocked at what the outcomes will be in the next 10 to 15 years for the cost of a bachelor's degree. And the only issue I think is that it's going to be very hard to pass this. I think that he's going to really even though I guess being a socialist is not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of people do see it as a bad thing, but In a capitalist society, I don't know if this is going to fly. I think it's going to be very hard to get them to pass this. I don't think that a lot of people are going to see this. Even I think some students who had student loans but paid them off, I think that becomes problematic, because then do you give them a stipend? How do you compensate them now that college and universities would be free? Like, how does that work? So I think that there's some things that need to be worked out first. But I just think that this will be a hard thing to pass. And mind you, you're talking to somebody who has student loan debt. I would love to see this pass. I would love it, because the student loan industry has been privatized, because really the government doesn't manage those loans. They get somebody else to come in and manage those loans. So somebody else is coming in like Navint, and they are the ones that are getting, trying to get the money back for these loans. And they have some very questionable tax tactics to get the money, and things that they've been doing. They've been sued multiple times, and with student loans, even if you pass away, you're still responsible for the debt in some instances, not all, but in some instances, especially if, let's say, like a parent, there was two parents who signed a student plus type of loan for the kid, and their child unfortunately passed away, and they're still on the hook for the $30,000 or $20,000 in student loans that the student took out. So it's one of those things, you can't file bankruptcy to get it away. It's just one of those things that's going to follow you. And it is unfortunate, because I do see it becoming the next bubble, whether people like it or not. It's just one of those things that is going to hit, and when it hits, it will hit hard, and everybody will feel it. So a lot of people aren't buying houses, they're renting. Why are students not buying houses, or younger people? They have student loan debt. They can't afford to buy houses if you have this huge debt to income ratio. And then, of course, you have also people aren't having kids. They can't afford them, so they don't want to have kids because of the student loan debt crisis, and among other things. But I think that it all kind of plays in, and then there's still degrees out there that you will never reap the benefits of them, but they cost just as much as a degree that where you would reap the benefits of it. So I think that we also need to look at the types of degrees that we offer. So there's a lot of things that we do need to look at in this country that we need to fix. I like the fact that we are talking about education now, because it seemed like in the last couple election cycles, no one was really talking about the student loan debt crisis, which continues to grow. People default every single day. So I can't wait to see what someone actually comes up with in order to improve, in order to fix, in order to make it better as far as the student loan crisis. Whether or not this is it, I don't know. Elizabeth Warren also has one. I think hers may be a little easier to pass, simply because it has like income brackets on it. I think Elizabeth Warren is a little bit she's missing some things. She's missing some things in the sense that if you are married and you and your spouse both have student loans, you're going to make more than $50,000, hopefully, with the two of you. So why would you be penalized for being together and both having student loan debt? Like, I mean, those are the types of things, because hers has like a cap of $50,000. So if you make over $50,000 in a household or something like that, you still have to pay your student loans, or or something like that, or in a household that makes less than $100,000. So you could easily make more than that if you are in fact married. And then it says, people who make more than $100,000 would be staggered in a reduction of their debt, and then people who make more than $250,000 would be ineligible for loan forgiveness. Which, okay, yeah, all right. And hers would be paid by the ultra millionaire tax, a 2% annual tax on 75,000 families with more than 50 million or more in wealth, which I think will also be hard to pass when you are going up against a Republican, nominee who passed the tax cut for the wealthy, and now you are trying to do the complete opposite. I'm not saying I don't agree with Elizabeth Warren. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that in the sense of trying to get people on board, I think it's going to be rough. It's going to be real rough to try to get Republicans to flip on that and say, okay, we just passed this tax cut. Let's turn around and take it back. I just think it's going to be very hard to pass. But I would love to see somebody pass something on student loan debt, because like I said, it is a crisis that's coming, a bubble is coming, and nobody's talking about it. And it will eventually burst, and it's going to cause a problem, I think just like the housing crisis did. So we need to be looking at it now, be proactive as opposed to reactive, and fix it before it happens as opposed to after. So I'm excited to see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, if he can pass it, I'm all for it. I'm like McDonald's. I'm loving it. Hey, let's pass it. If he can get in there, I'm all for it. All day long. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on in politics, but not too much because we don't have too much time. So if you haven't heard, Donald Trump is in trouble again. Basically, there's another allegation that has since come out. And it just amazes me that we're even still talking about this, simply because he is the president of the United States, and no other president, I don't think, could have withstood the amount of allegations that have come out in his White House. It's just amazing to me. So he has sexual misconduct allegations by at least 19 women. 19. And then, of course, this new allegation that has come out from Jean Carroll. And a lot of people are kind of blowing it off because it seems like people are kind of focusing more on Joe Biden at this point, when we really should be giving some more attention to some of the things that have been going on with Donald Trump, especially since he's the president. And I think that in this environment, it shows that he's kind of above the law. Like, there's not been a whole lot that has really been done. Like, he's pretty much been able to get away with whatever he wants. Like saying, to George Stephanopoulos that, if a foreign power came to you this election cycle and had information on, your opponent, would you take it? And he said, yes, I would take it. And that his son wouldn't and shouldn't have called the FBI because that's not how things work in real life. But it is. People, if something happens when you need to contact the FBI, most people just contact the FBI. But it's not something that everybody does. It's a funny thing that we are even going through this. Like I said, I don't think any other person could have withstood this. His base is something I've never seen before. Like, when he says he can shoot someone in the middle of, New York and nobody say anything, he's right. Because I really don't see anyone really stopping him, and he's really shown that he's kind of above the law. A lot of Democrats aren't afraid of impeachment, simply because they don't want to lose the election, because they did impeach him, similar to what happened with Bill Clinton. So after he got impeached, they lost a bunch of seats and stuff, and it just didn't turn out good for Republicans when they went after Bill Clinton. However, I don't think it's quite the same. I think it does add a level of, do we hold him accountable for anything, or do we just kind of let him do whatever? I don't know. I go back and forth with it, because it is, and I've heard this before, that it's going to be hard for you to get all the information you need to know without impeachment, because impeachment it's not going to be held in a couple of different committees, meaning his obstruction of justice and what has happened. It would be one, of course, one investigation. We would see it, so it would play out in the public eye, and so everyone would see it. Because if you talk to some of his base, they don't even know that anything bad was in that report at all. And so that's a scary thing in and of itself. If you only watch conservative news, you wouldn't know that. And so to be able to, at least at the very minimum, have the American public see what's going on is one thing. And I think a lot of people also saying impeach, but impeachment doesn't mean that he's gone. That's not how that works. So of course it has a process that would need to happen in order to actually get him out. But what it would do, like I said, it would get him in front of the American public so that more people can see what happens. And you, just like when he was saying it, when they asked him about impeachment, he was saying that there hasn't been high crimes and misdemeanors. It's or like you don't have to do both in order to be impeached. But it's just a funny thing that we are even still talking about this, and it's even that there's still things that are coming out. That's the scary part, that there are still things that are coming out about him, about this investigation, things that, you know, I don't know. There's just, we never thought that this would really happen. You know, I don't think anyone could foresee us having a president quite like this one. And he also said that he wouldn't leave. So, you know, he said that Nixon left before he got impeached, but he wouldn't leave. So then, yeah, it's going to be a whole thing. So it should be interesting to see what happens and if the Democrats will actually call for impeachment. And like I said, I don't think he's going to come out of the White House, even if they do decide to impeach him, because it has to be passed in the House, which the Democrats have the majority there, the articles of impeachment. Then it would go, you know, over to the Senate, and then there would be a trial, and then it would take Senate votes in favor of conviction by 2/3 supermajority votes. So 67 votes the Senate will need to remove Donald Trump from office. So in this current Senate, do I see that happening? No. So I think it will just give the American public what they need, potentially, to make a better decision. Like I said, is it gonna sway his base? No, probably not. But there are some people that haven't been reached with this information, so it may sway them. But like I said, I'm still on the fence whether or not it is worth doing, given the fact that he's probably not going to come out of office. Like, I think he will do his full term. I'm hoping it's 1 term, but I think he will do his full term. Hopefully 1. Let's get a Democratic person in there that can really kick some butt and take some names. But I see 1 term. Please. So this has been Lise Winnie here with another episode of Millennialz Anonymous. So if you need to make any questions or comments, you can always leave a comment under the post. If you are watching the visual version, if you're watching the audio version, you can simply leave a message on Anchor, or you can send an email to lisa@lisewinnie.com, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. If you would like to be on the show, same thing. Just leave an email. Don't necessarily leave a comment. Send me an email and explain who you are, why you want to be on the show, what, you know, is the nature of your business and all of that. We did not have our guest today because something came up, but he will be recording in July. So, you know, it's coming. I'm promising you it's coming. And I'm looking forward to speaking to him. And I have all of the information at the bottom for my email if you didn't get that. Thanks again. Bye.